"Come here. Closer." Yeah, just like that. I need to tell you about the Carver family Thanksgiving. The one from 2019 that nobody talks about anymore. Not out loud, anyway. It started like every other Thanksgiving in that big colonial house on Maple Ridge Lane. Snow just beginning to dust the pines, the smell of sage and turkey fat drifting through every room. Aunt Linda was already 3 mimosas deep, laughing too loud. Uncle Ray kept carving the bird long after everyone had their plates, because presentation matters. Grandma Esther sat in her rocking chair by the fireplace, staring into the flames like she could see something moving inside them. 13 people around the table. 13. That number stuck with me when I first heard the story. Dinner was perfect. Too perfect. The skin on the turkey crackled like it was still alive. The gravy had this deep, almost metallic richness nobody could place. Everyone kept saying, "Mom, what did you put in this?" But Mom, Claire Carver, just smiled and said, "Old family recipe," then changed the subject. The first strange thing happened around dessert. Cousin Ellie, she was 8, started crying at the table. Not tantrum crying. Silent, shoulders shaking, tears pouring down her face while she stared at her slice of pumpkin pie. When her mom asked what was wrong, Ellie whispered, "There's a tooth in it." Everyone laughed nervously. Kids say weird stuff, right? But then Uncle Ray found one too. A tiny, grayish molar sitting right in the whipped cream like it belonged there. He held it up between 2 fingers, and the table went quiet. Grandma Esther finally spoke, voice like dry leaves. "Pass the teeth around. Everyone gets one. It's tradition." That's when the lights flickered. Not a brown-out flicker. More like the bulbs themselves inhaled and held their breath. For 3 full seconds, the dining room was swallowed by black, and in that darkness, I swear people heard chewing. Wet, deliberate chewing coming from under the table. When the lights came back, Great Aunt Margaret was missing. Her chair was empty. Her plate was clean, licked clean, and there was a faint red smear across the lace tablecloth, like someone had dragged a paintbrush made of meat. Nobody screamed. They just stared. Like the part of their brain that processes panic had been unplugged. Claire stood up slowly, smoothing her apron. She wasn't feeling well, she said, calm as December snow. I helped her upstairs to lie down. But Margaret was 87 years old and weighed maybe 90 pounds. Claire was 5 feet 2. There was no way. The kids were sent to the living room to watch the parade rerun. The adults stayed at the table drinking in silence, waiting for someone else to say it first. Nobody did. That night, the house wouldn't let anyone leave. Front door? Locked. Deadbolt turned, but the key just spun forever. Back door? Chain on the inside that nobody remembered putting there. Windows painted shut decades ago. Phones. No signal. Batteries draining even when they were powered off. The Carver house had decided Thanksgiving wasn't over. Around 2 a.m., little Ellie came downstairs holding her stuffed rabbit. Its belly had been cut open and stuffed with what looked like strands of dark hair. She laid it on the kitchen island next to the leftover turkey and said, voice flat, Mr. Fluffy was hungry too. Then she pointed at the fridge. Inside, on the middle shelf where the cranberry sauce had been, sat Great Aunt Margaret. Folded. Knees to chest, neck bent at a wrong angle, eyes wide open and glassy. Someone had wrapped her in plastic wrap like leftovers. There was a sticky note on her forehead that just said, "Save for Friday." That's when Uncle Ray started laughing. Not a sane laugh. A high, broken giggle that wouldn't stop. He walked over to the stove, turned on a burner, and pressed his hand flat against the red-hot coil. The smell of cooking meat filled the kitchen again. He looked at his wife and said, "It's still Thanksgiving, baby. We're all family. We're all staying." One by one, they stopped fighting it. By morning, search parties found the house empty. Table set for 14 now. An extra chair pulled up. A new plate. The turkey carcass picked perfectly clean. Bones arranged on the platter like a smile. They say if you drive past Maple Ridge Lane late on Thanksgiving night, sometimes the lights are still on in the Carver house. You can smell roasting meat from the road. And if you're really unlucky, you'll see movement in the dining room window. 13 figures around the table, and one empty chair waiting. They're still hungry, and family always comes home for Thanksgiving. Sleep tight, everyone. And whatever you do, don't check the leftovers tomorrow. Some things aren't meant to keep. All right, guys, welcome back. If you're new here, grab some headphones, turn the lights down low, and let's get into it. Tonight's story comes from a private message I received about 3 weeks ago. The sender asked to remain anonymous. Let's just call him Jay. He titled it, "Thanksgiving 2022, the year the bird fought back. This one's rough, even for me." Let's dive in. Jay writes, "I've always hated Thanksgiving at my in-laws' place, not because of the people. My wife's family is fine. It's the house. Old farmhouse, middle of nowhere in southern Illinois. Built in 1891. The kind of place where the floorboards remember every footstep that's ever crossed them. But we go every year because my wife, Sarah, feels obligated. Her mom, Diane, hosts. Her brother Chris flies in from Denver. Grandma Ruth is always there, 93 years old and sharp as a scalpel. This year, there were 9 of us total. We arrived Wednesday night. The second I stepped inside, something felt off. The house smelled wrong. Not bad, exactly. More like a butcher shop that had been hosed down with pine cleaner. Diane said she'd been brining the turkey since Monday, a 28-pounder. "Heritage breed," she kept saying. "Raised special." Thursday morning, we're all helping in the kitchen. Diane pulls the bird out of the fridge and it's huge. Unnaturally huge. Skin the color of old parchment stretched tight over the breast. When she set it on the counter, the cutting board cracked straight down the middle. Nobody commented on it. Chris made a joke about it being roided up, but Diane gave me this look. Cold, like I'd insulted her kid. Dinner was at 5. Table looked perfect. Orange candles, heirloom china, the whole thing. The turkey sat in the center like a throne. Diane sharpened the carving knife for a solid 5 minutes. Back and forth. Back and forth. The sound made my teeth hurt. When she finally cut in, the meat was wrong. It wasn't white or brown, it was red. Deep, wet red, like it had been cooked rare. Juices ran across the platter thick as syrup. But the weirdest part, the smell. It didn't smell like turkey. It smelled like us. Like human sweat and skin and fear. Everyone froze. Grandma Ruth was the first to speak. She stared at the bird and whispered, "That's not ours." Diane smiled. Too wide. "Of course it is, Mother. We raised it ourselves." Chris laughed nervously. "You guys don't even have chickens, Mom." Diane didn't blink. "We do now. We ate anyway. You know how it is. Nobody wants to make a scene on Thanksgiving." The meat was tender. Too tender. It dissolved on your tongue, like it didn't want to be chewed. I swear, I felt something move in my throat going down. After dinner, People started feeling sick. Not food poisoning sick. Something else. My father-in-law, Tom, went pale and said his chest felt tight. Sarah's cousin, Megan, started crying for the bathroom and collapsed in the hallway. We thought it was a seizure. Then the power went out. Pitch black. The kind of dark you only get 20 miles from the nearest streetlight. Someone lit candles. That's when we saw the footprints. Bloody footprints. Bare feet. Leading from the kitchen, out the back door, and straight into the cornfield behind the house. The prints were too big to be any of ours. And fresh. Steam was still rising off them. Chris grabbed a shotgun. Me, him, and Tom went outside to check. The corn was dead. Stalks brown and brittle even though it was only got cold last week. The footprints kept going, deeper into the field, until they just stopped. Like whatever made them got scooped up into the sky. That's when we heard it. A sound coming from the barn. Low, wet, rhythmic. Like something huge eating. We should have gone back inside. We didn't. The barn doors were open. Inside, hanging from the rafters by its ankles, was the turkey. Except it wasn't dead. It was the size of a minivan, feathers matted with blood and afterbirth. Its neck had been cut clean through for dinner, but the head dangling by a thread of skin. Yet the beak was still opening and closing. Opening and closing. The eyes, black, shiny, alive, tracked us as we stood there. And it was full. Its crop bulged like it had swallowed a beach ball. You could see handprints pushing out from inside. Little ones. A child's. That's when Chris dropped the shotgun and puked. We ran. Back of the house, the back door was locked. From the inside, we banged, screamed. Through the window, we could see Diane in the kitchen, calmly washing dishes. Grandma Ruth sat at the table eating leftover turkey with her fingers. Sarah was on the floor, convulsing, foam at her mouth. Diane looked up at us through the glass and mouthed, "You weren't supposed to see the farm." Tom kicked the door in. The second we crossed the threshold, the sickness hit us like a truck. Vision tunneling. Limbs heavy. I remember crawling towards Sarah while Diane stood over us, still smiling, still washing the same plate over and over. Last thing I remember is Grandma Ruth leaning down to my ear and whispering, "We only raise one a year. Takes 9 months. Needs a family to feed it love first. Or the meat's no good." I woke up 3 days later in a hospital in Springfield. Only survivor. Police said the house burned down Thanksgiving night. Faulty wiring. 9 bodies recovered. Cause of death, exsanguination. They never found the barn. Jay ends the message with this. Every night since, I wake up at 3:33 a.m. starving. Not regular hungry. The kind where your stomach feels like it's turning inside out. And every time I open the fridge, there's a plate of turkey. Fresh. Still warm. I haven't eaten in 21 days. But I'm losing weight. But my stomach, it's getting bigger. Send help. Or don't. Thanksgiving is in 3 days. Yeah, if you guys live in rural Illinois and someone invites you to a home-raised heritage turkey dinner this year, maybe just order pizza. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one. All right, everyone. Settle in. If you're watching this the day it drops, it's the Monday after Black Friday. If you're watching it any later than that, maybe keep the lights on anyway. This one came in last night. No name, no username, just a string of numbers. He called the file doorbuster.wmv. I've read it 4 times now, and I still feel like something's standing behind me. Let's get into it. He starts. Black Friday 2024. Westfield Valley Mall, outside Columbus, Ohio. I used to be one of those psychos who camped out at 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving night for a 65-inch OLED marked down to $297. This year, I told myself I was done. Then Best Buy dropped the ad. 5 a.m. doorbuster, only 20 units in the store. I was in the parking lot by 2:30. There were already 400 people in line. More kept coming. By 4 a.m., it looked like a refugee camp. Blankets, lawn chairs, people in sleeping bags breathing steam into the air. Security walked the line handing out wristbands. Mine said, "Number 18. I felt like I'd won the lottery. 4:57 a.m. The automatic doors were still locked, but the employees inside were lined up like soldiers, all wearing the blue polos, all smiling the exact same smile, too wide, too still, like someone had told them, "Hold this expression until your face hurts, then keep holding it." 5 a.m. on the dot, the doors slid open. The roar that went up was inhuman. We surged forward like one organism. I got shoved so hard my shoes came off, but I kept my wristband. I was getting that TV. Inside was chaos, but organized chaos. Arrows taped to the floor, employees screaming directions. The TV pallet was in the back corner, wrapped in plastic. 20 boxes stacked like a shrine. People were already fighting over them. I saw a woman get elbowed in the face. Blood sprayed across a box and nobody stopped. I grabbed mine, number 18, hugged it to my chest, and started pushing toward the registers. That's when the lights went out. Not flickered. Went out. Total blackout. Emergency strips kicked on, bathing everything in sick red light. For 3 full seconds, you could hear 4,000 people breathing at once. Then the speakers crackled, and a voice came over the PA. Calm. Male. Familiar somehow. Attention valued guests. Due to overwhelming demand, we are initiating Protocol Early Bird. Please proceed to the nearest checkout lane in an orderly fashion. Cash and blood are both accepted tonight. Someone laughed nervously. Then a lot of people laughed. Black Friday humor, right? The lights snapped back on like nothing happened, and we all shuffled toward the registers. Here's where it gets bad. The lines were short. Too short. I got to the front in under 5 minutes. The cashier, young guy, maybe 20, scanned my TV. Total came up $0.00. I joked, "Guess I won Black Friday." He didn't laugh, just stared at me with those same frozen smiles the door employees had. "Payment method?" he asked. I held up my card. He shook his head slowly. "We're only accepting one form tonight." Then he lifted his arm. His sleeve was soaked dark red. A perfect slice ran from wrist to elbow, neat as a paper cut, but deep. Blood dripped steady onto the conveyor belt. He held out the box cutter like an offering. "Small incision is fine," he said. "We just need a sample." I backed up. The people behind me in line didn't. They were already rolling up sleeves, pressing blades to skin, calm as scanning a coupon. One guy sliced his forearm open like he was cutting turkey and let it pour into a plastic bin. The cashier slid forward. The register beeped. Transaction complete. I ran. Not toward the exit, toward the stockroom. I don't know why. Panic logic. The door was propped open with a shopping cart. Inside it looked normal. Shelves, pallets, forklift, except every employee in there was bleeding into 5-gallon buckets. Quiet. Methodical. One woman waved at me with her good arm and whispered, "Almost quota. You're just in time." I kept moving. Ended up in the back hallway by the loading dock. That's when I saw the truck. Semi-trailer backed up to the bay, refrigerated unit running. The roll-up door was open. Inside, hundreds of those same TVs, still in boxes. But the boxes were moving. Barely. Like something inside pushing against the cardboard from within. Handprints, faces. Every single screen had a person folded up inside. I puked on the concrete. Security found me there 10 minutes later. 2 guys in black polos, same smile. They didn't speak, just zip-tied my hands and walked me back into the store. The sales floor was almost empty now. Just blood trails leading to the exits, and those plastic bins lined up like they were collecting for the Red Cross. They sat me down at a kiosk in the middle of the aisle. A tablet lit up automatically. Welcome. Guest number 4,827. Select your discount. 50% off. Left thumb, 75% off. Right hand, 100% off. Both kidneys. Limit 1 per customer. While supplies last. I don't remember choosing. I woke up in the parking lot at 9 a.m. with a receipt in my pocket and a bandage around my left wrist. The TV was in my trunk, still in the box, still $0 on the receipt. I haven't opened it. Every night since, the doorbell cam catches the same thing at 3:33 a.m. A Best Buy employee in a blue polo standing on my porch, smiling that smile, holding an empty plastic bin. He never rings the bell. Just stands there until sunrise. Yesterday the bandage came off. There's a barcode tattooed where they cut me. It scans for $666. And the TV in my trunk? Last night it turned itself on. The screen is just static. But if you look close, you can see thousands of faces pressed against the glass from the inside. They all have my eyes. Management has extended Black Friday through December. They're hiring. I think I'm going back tonight. The employee discount is insane. Yeah. If you got a doorbuster deal this year that seemed too good to be true, maybe check the fine print on the receipt. And whatever you do, don't scan the barcode they left on you. I'll see you guys in the next one, if there is a next one. Stay safe out there.